So today what we're going to do is we're going to fix the, or replace all the seals for the oil cooler on the M113. So we've got three main seals here. These two are for the oil cooler, and this one here is where the oil filter housing mounts to the block. Another thing that we're going to replace at the same time, because it also is a bit easier and it's in the same area, is the power steering tank. And with that, we've got the power steering tank O-ring as well, so make sure you've got both of those if you're doing that job. These are OEM parts, not genuine Mercedes, but they're OEM, so basically they're the same parts that Mercedes use, just without the star on them and without the nice box. But if you want to save a bit of money, well, you may as well just get the OEM ones. Just to show you guys, so this is why it's important to replace the tanks on these 112, 113, and I imagine 272, 273, and possibly other engine models, is you might not be able to see it. If we just wave a torch, there's a filter built into these tanks. Yeah, so you might, oh my lord, this is not going to work. No, but you might be able to just see like the sort of faint haze in there. Looks like a light's in there. It's the fine sort of mesh of the filter in there. So there's like it'll be a little plastic filter, but it's basically, where is it? It's basically a little mesh filter, and it filters the oil when it comes into the car. I'm just trying to find an example, but I can't. Sorry. So anyway, so that's basically what's in here. So you've got to replace the whole tank. And these are cheap on FCP Euro. I think I bought this for like $20 or $16 or something US. So it was real cheap. And then I've got a local parts team here in New Zealand I use for other bits and pieces, as well as other big parts as well. But this was just a little bit cheap for me when I was buying those, so I bought a couple of them. So yeah, let's get into replacing this now. We're going to pull the car up, open it up, let it sit for a few minutes just so the oil drains out, and get started. So guys, got the bonnet up, got the car up on a bit of oil. We'll just start taking bits of the car apart. Just ignore the horse you can hear in the background. Nothing's got more horsepower than this car. Well, at least that horse doesn't. So guys, we've taken the engine cover off underneath. You can just see like there's quite a lot of oil build-up, like even on this hose here. You know, up on the air conditioning refrigeration, the compressor there. As I mentioned in my other videos, these iPhone 13s are useless at focusing on close-up things. But yeah, we've got a leak coming in there, and see it's on the subframe even here. We've got fresh oil build up, and even back here a bit on the sway bar. Coming down the side here, it's quite bad actually. Now, we can have a look at the top here. But what we're going to do first is just drain some of the coolant off, because the oil filter here is the oil cooler, and it uses the coolant water to cool the oil down. So if we pull these off now, we're going to drain a whole lot of coolant out, especially this lower hose down here. That one there, we don't want to pull that off just willy-nilly, because it's going to make a big mess everywhere. So we're going to drain some coolant first from the engine, then we'll move on to doing some more. So I'll find the best hose to pull from, and we'll start draining some of it. So team, we're going to take the coolant out of the coolant tank first, and then we're going to detach the bottom hose from it and lower it down enough just to drain any excess, so that we've got enough coolant in there that's not going to spill out when we take the bottom cooler hoses off. So I'm just going to use the old sucky tool, just put it in here and suck it out, put it in here, and we'll put fresh coolant in to replace it. Unfortunately, this coolant is actually pretty good, so it's a bit of a waste, but that's alright. We'll just get into that now. I did try and take some hoses off the water pump, but they were on there pretty well, and I need to do the water pump at some point later, so we'll just do it this way for now. Cool. So team, we've sucked the fluid out. We've just pried this gently out, the little heat control valve, and we've basically lifted this up. There's a little nod and little little bracket that it pops into on that little nipple down there. So you just gently pop it off that, and then I've just basically, there's still a bit of fluid in there, but I've basically leaned the tank away so it doesn't drain out the bottom there. So we've got no real major mess yet. And I say yet because there's basically coolant now in here, see? So we want to drain that out, and that goes down here. So I'm probably going to end up just sort of tipping it down the gap here into my drainage, whatever you call it, flipping, you know what it is. Cool. So we're going to put that on the floor down here. We've already got a bit in here. It's all pretty clean. Under here, I might just chuck a rag over the alternator there, but everything else is pretty safe. It's not going to damage anything. So we'll just get an old rag and chuck it over that. So big success team. We've unclipped the little hose. We've bent it around gently. The hose is in good condition, luckily, so it's not cracked or anything. And we've just sort of drained the excess into the pan there, and there's basically no mess. The last time I did a thermostat on a, I think it was on the E55. The first time I did one, I basically like unplugged this straight away, and it was just like the whole engine was just like drenched in coolant. So good learning tips for you guys if you haven't done that already. I'm pretty rip and bust though, so I sort of just smash into things, but I've learned I can't do that. So what we're going to do now is we'll probably end up doing the let's take another peek. We'll end up taking the air pump off just to give us more room to the thermostat, and then we'll start also taking these tubes off and getting the whole piece disassembled. So we'll take the air pump out first. Right team, so we've got the air pump out. Now what we're going to do is just put the coolant stuff back together, just so it's back in place nicely, and then we'll continue on with the thermostat and stuff. But I just want to get this annoying coolant stuff sort of just put back to where it was, so I don't have to worry about it later. So we'll just do that right now. So team, tank's all back in place nicely. We'll give it all a little bit of a clean when we're finished with everything. That's done up, the bottom hose is done up, coolant tank sensor and the heater control valve. We're also gonna, if you look at this hose here, this vacuum hose that controls the secondary air injection, it's got a bit of cracking on it. And I've got some spare hose, like this little T-junction's fine, it's just this piece here is a bit buggered, so we're going to basically end up pulling that off, I think, and we'll put a new piece of hose on. While I'm actually here, I'm also just going to crack the the oil filter housing here, and I'm also going to crack the and I'm also just going to drain out some of the fluid from the steering reservoir tank just to get that finished, and then we're ready to start ripping all this open and get into it. But before I do that, I'm going to go get a coffee, so I'll be back soon after I've done this draining. So team, back into it, got a coffee. We'll take the oil filter housing off first. might just suck up a little bit of the oil out of the valve here, out of the valley here. We'll dump that into our tank as leftovers. Then you'll see we've got that big bolt. That's a big 46mm nut we're going to crack, so that's going to be a bit of fun. But I might start first by just undoing these, loosening up these first. And we'll also remove the thermostat hose since we've drained the coolant. Now there shouldn't be any extra in there leaking out. We've taken the hose off finally, which has given us a bit of room to get into these cooler lines here. But I'm just looking at the thermostat and it's pretty flippin' mint inside. And even the housing's not too bad. So I'm questioning whether to change it or not. And saying that, they're pretty cheap, so I suppose we probably should just change it, eh? Well, we'll take it off. This one because we might actually use it again. Oh. Spilling corn everywhere, great. Yeah, so here's the one that was in there. Oh, okay, it is original. Got the timestamp there, 04. April 2005, sorry. Oh wait, no. May 2004, sorry. Year and then month. This is a July vehicle, so hey, it's done a few, yeah, it's the original one, so let's just replace it. If it was a new one from maybe, 5-6 years ago. So it's good to see that this one's actually not too bad. The old seal. Yeah, it's in pretty good condition though, so we'll just leave it like that for now, guys, and we'll get on to moving these pipes here off the oil filter cooler system. So team, we've got the thermostat out, we've taken the oil cooler off, and I've also just snagged these two cooler lines off. So this is the lower one here, with its clamps attached. I'm going to chuck these in some degreaser as well as the cooler here, and we're just going to clean it all out a bit, and then we'll reassemble it together again. Shit. That's not good. Oh, that's not good. Whoops. Oh man. Okay. Oh, it's an old rag. An old blanket. It was actually quite a nice blanket. But yeah, we'll clean these out, and also we'll just take finally this off the main oil filter housing. I was just covering it up. All my tools are everywhere just because I can't access my toolbox with that in the way there. So yeah, there we go. I'll just suck a little bit of that out, and then we can put our big nut on and crack that filter housing, and yeah, then we can do the whole lot in one go. So guys, oil filter housing is off. That was probably the easiest part of this whole project, to be honest. It's a 46mm specific socket. I don't know what, well, hey, it's just the way they engineered it, but it's a massive socket. I had to go and buy it for this job. So that obviously threads onto there and it locks that whole housing into place. So now that we've got that freed up, that's great. What we're going to do is just plug those two holes. So I'm just going to chuck a little bit of cloth in each of them just to make sure we don't drop anything in there, because we still need to pull our steering reservoir out as well. We really don't want to get anything in there. So we're just going to go and grab some old rags and cut off some clean bits of them and shove them in the hole. Maybe even this one will do. Yeah, this is all nice and clean. I'll grab my scissors and do that. So guys, we've got some water, some nice warm water with degreaser in it, ready for these things. So we're going to just sink them in water, and once they're done, we'll just blow them out with compressed air to make sure there's no water left in there. Same with the little hoses here, they can have a little wash, and our main filter housing, which actually has oil in it still, but that'll be right. I can live in there for an hour. So on the steering pump team, there's these little clips here. You can use some pliers to undo them. It basically lips over this here, and there's this sort of tool that will remove them easily and also put them back on again. If you don't have that, then yeah, maybe just replace it with a normal, I call them a Jubilee clip, but there's a different name for them, like we have on the coolant tank here, just something standard. So once you've gently pried that off this input here, then you can pull the little C-clip here. So get a tool like this and hook it under there and pull it out, and it just slots in on that bracket right there. See that there? It's got little grooves, so it's going in this way and it clicks in. So you want to pull it out, and then that basically will disconnect our steering tank, and then we can pull the whole tank off once we've just undone that one bolt there. So we'll do that now. Maybe just put a rag underneath on the pulley for the power steering as well, so you don't get any crap on it. So team, the tank's been pulled out. Yeah, this is the original one, 04, so it's the original tank. It just pops straight off there, guys, like that. Now mine's leaked a bit of fluid, which is a pain in the ass, but I'm just cleaning some of the parts here, some of the bolts and stuff, and we'll be good to put it all back together. Pretty much got everything now, so let's get going. So if we look at what we have, guys, we've got the we've got our old seals here, and we've got our new ones. So I'm just gonna put our new ones in first. So I've cleaned this up with brake cleaner, and we've got these L-ring replacements, which is an OEM brand, which you can probably buy for next to nothing online. So that's the part number there for it. Make sure your gullies are cleaned where you put the seal in, and then we'll just push it in there like that. Perfect. So guys, we've got our seals installed on the filter housing here. Looking good. We've got our two new seals. We've got one for the power steering tank, but we're going to put these two, and the bottom of the housing goes into here, but these fix to the timing case and to the pump. So we're going to go and do those in a second. But if you look at these ones, these are the old ones. They're all hard and brittle. You know, they're just a little bit too cooked for my liking. So, yeah, we're replacing those with OEM parts. Fits on the end of the, you'll see there's a little lip. It slides over the top of that. I'm going to clean it first. And our new seal goes in the little gap here as well. So I'm just going to spray a teeny bit of fluid on there and just wipe it, and then we'll install them. So Tim, our new tank's ready to go in. The seal's on the end of the pump there. Our oil pump seal's on. Filter seal's on. So now we just want to literally slip this into place. Oh my lord, I just spent like half an hour getting this stinking flippin' tank back on. It was so hard for some reason to get it to lock over the inlet to the pump. I tried it like at least 20 times. Basically how I got it in, I know I did try it that way already, but I put the O-ring inside the tank and just seated it as far back as I could safely. And then I just, you know, you gotta run the plastic through this little guide here and then just sort of push it into place. But what I'll say is if it doesn't just naturally sort of clip on, don't force it. It still needs a bit of force, but don't like do it to the extent where something would snap if you pushed hard enough. Yeah, okay. That was the most annoying part of this whole job today. Anyway, we've got, now once we've just put this return line on here, we can, down there like that, we can then refix these little clamps. Like that there. Yep. Refix that clamp. I'm just going to give it a quick clean as well. But yeah, then I'm just going to quickly wipe this again because I've obviously got a bit of oil on it from mucking around with this tank. Then we can put our cooler and oil filter back on. So we've got the housing in place, 70 newton meters of torque applied to it, and we've got our cleaned up oil heat exchange. So that's just going to slip back into place down here. New thermostat. So team, everything's back on, our coolant pipe's on, cooler's on, oil filter, we're going to put new oil filter in it now. So we've got our filter down here. We're going to just tip these little O-rings off, 1, 2 and 3. As usual, iPhone 13's useless. There we go, I'm trying to focus. Those 3 O-rings. New filter, oh, and the big one here. The big one on the housing. Put our new filter in, and then top up the power steering. We'll jack the car up. We'll also put the air pump back in, and yeah, so let's keep going. Cool, I'm just going to put some fluid in the power steering pump. For a W203 C55 you want to use Mercedes-Benz 345 fluid. which is essentially the same oil as you would put in an ABC system, or as you've probably heard, Pentison CHF11S. It's the same stuff basically. So we're going to fill this up, and then we're going to, before we turn the car on or anything, we're going to jack up the front of the car, and we will cycle the steering wheel around a few times just to make sure we're getting the fluid and the air out of the system. Before we do that though, team, we're just going to put the air pump back in, and as I said earlier, I wanted to just replace this piece of hose here because it's pretty brittle. See there? It's pretty bad. So I just want to try and pry this off gently and I'll replace it. But I won't video that. We'll skip to this being back installed. Cool, fresh vacuum hose installed. Now it fits nicely. So now we're going to chuck that air pump back in. So team, we're jacking up the C55. I'm just going to watch that my bonnet doesn't actually scratch the garage door there, but it should be fine. We just want to get the wheels off the floor so we can spin the wheels left and right with the car turned off, and then it means we can bleed any air out of the system before we turn the car on. Cool, looks like that's enough. Sweet. We'll just leave the cap off. Just while I was off camera, I've put the belt back on. Got a new tensioner as well here. Sorry, a new idler. And yeah, we need to fill it up with coolant, don't forget. So we're nearly put together, team. Right team, we've put a bit of oil in it, we've put the coolant in it. It's already sucked up quite a lot, and power steering fluid. Rotated it quite a few times. It's still quite full actually, so there's probably quite a bit of air in it. So we'll just start it up and we'll just let it cycle around for a bit. And hopefully she all runs good as gold now. Belts are all clear. Yep. Belts are clear, we're on the thing properly. Yep, good. Okay, there we go. We'll just let it warm up and make sure there's no leaks. So folks, we're all done. Everything's all wrapped up and cleaned. Put the cover back on, air intakes, topped up the coolant. If you're doing the same thing, or if you do any sort of stuff involving the coolant, just maybe check it after a bit of driving, just to make sure that there's, you'll probably find that it'll come down another inch or so when it fully gets the air out of the system. So yeah, we're all nice and clean and ready to put back on the road again. So we'll, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you like the video in terms of, you know, I try and video most things, I don't video everything. But I don't know whether you guys like that or not, or whether you're just happy to see quick steps, you know, quick video, just progress, snapshot updates and that's it, or whether you like to sort of see the in-depth stuff. But yeah, put it back in the garage. This week I'm driving the 210 E55, which you can find on my channel. So this car won't be driven for about another week or so, but be cool to see how she drives now. Well, more importantly, it'd be cool to see if any further leaks develop. And I've given all of the stuff down there a good clean with brake cleaners, so I should be able to see if any new leaks develop. But apart from the valve covers, I think that's the only thing that's still leaking on this. So yeah. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and see you next time. Oh, go and check out the E55 videos. This bastard's taken 6 weeks so far, but it's fun. Just sneak preview, got the gearbox out, doing the rear main seal. We've put new airbags in the back of the 211. Beautiful brand new Bilstein or Bilstein, whatever you want to call it, shock absorbers and air springs. So if you want to check out that car, go and watch it. I'm really excited to get that car back on the road. Give it a drive next week. Cheers.